Hi, and welcome to The Juice. On today's episode of The Juice, we have two very special guests. Prior to her current career, Tara had an incredible career in the entertainment industry until she had an aha moment and decided to change her life and follow her heart's work. This led her and her husband to give birth to the much sought after Fire Shaper Yoga Studio. Tara's message goes way deeper than just a yoga studio. Together with her husband, they have embarked on the next part of their journey together. This includes spreading inspiration for their love of all things health, wellness, and yoga. You may know Tara's husband as world-renowned singer Jay Sean. From hit songs like Down to Do You Remember, Jay Sean and Tara are here to share their wealth of knowledge with all of you. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Our pleasure.
I'm not just grateful, but I know the viewers and listeners are really going to benefit from this and be really appreciative.
Oh, I hope so.
So before we start with the questions, are you guys up for a game? Are you guys down for a game?
Oh, that's a good one. There's a good one. Yeah, of course. Always.
Okay, so I've only done it like one-on-one, but I'm going to let you guys both do it together. So I have a lot of questions here. If you answer them all in a minute, you're going to win a prize.
Okay. Fine.
So timer's on? Good. All right. What's your favorite juice?
Green juice.
Perfect. Introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
Mansion in the suburbs or cabin in the mountains?
Ooh, well, I think verbs.
Verbs. Okay. Wheatgrass shot or Wendy's?
Oh, obviously.
Noise or silence?
Silence. He's going to say noise.
I'm going to say noise. I need a bit of vibes. Yeah.
Balance is good. Is it okay for vegetarians to eat animal crackers?
That's a good one. I like that. Yes.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Yeah.
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
Text or call?
Text.
Me too. Make your bed in the morning or leave it unmade? I got the answer. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark.
Favorite cuisine?
Italian.
I was going to say as well.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee now.
Now.
Crunchy or soft tacos?
Ooh, soft tacos.
Okay, we'll go soft.
Okay. Tattoos or piercings?
Tats, I guess.
Okay. Laundry or dishes?
Dishes.
Breakfast or no breakfast?
Well, we don't have
We
it.
used to, but now we're intermittent fasting.
Me too. Cook or takeout? I love that. Cook or takeout?
We love a takeout sometimes, don't
Yes,
we?
but I love to cook.
A treat.
Okay, both. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Who would play you in the movie of your life? Either one of you.
Ooh.
I want to play myself.
Perfect. There you go. Jay Sean. Favorite movie?
Rocky.
That's a good one. Al Pacino or Robert De Niro?
De Niro. Sorry,
De Niro.
I'm trying to get this prize.
Yeah, come on. Dress up or dress down?
Huh?
Dress up. Favorite article of clothing?
Jackets.
Favorite president?
Shoes.
I like that one. Favorite president?
President, okay.
Favorite color?
Black.
Favorite feature?
Favorite what?
Feature?
Smile.
I love that. Mac or PC?
Mac.
Giving presents or getting presents?
Giving.
Credit card or cash?
Credit.
Party goer or party thrower?
Both.
Party thrower.
Yeah.
I think you won.
Was that under a minute?
Yep.
Wow.
Woo!
That was good.
So what I'm going to do is donate, put a donation on in honor of you and your favorite charity.
That's very nice.
So yeah, that's your prize.
you.
No problem. Before you leave,
Thank
Linda
you.
will take all the information and we'll get it over there.
Yeah, we're doing. I'm
Awesome.
doing the Kula for
I
Kama
figured.
commit to sit right now. So
That's awesome.
perfect.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
And you just got to know us immediately. in 1 minute.
Exactly.
That's a genius.
We're done.
Yeah,
You
we're
can
done.
go
That's
now.
actually the interview. Love that.
Okay, are you guys ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right. So, how did you meet?
Well, I talk a lot, so let me just. She'll give you the brief version.
The briefer version.
Okay.
So we were both booked to perform at a show in Miami. Yeah, we met on the Friday, spent the weekend as performers. We were hosting as well different summits and stuff.
Okay.
So it was really cool because we got to know each other, got to share what it was like being artists in the industry, kind of being the first in our families, being brown, Indian. Our families weren't really, it had never been done before. So I think
That's
that
so
really
cool.
kind of connected us.
And then was it like pretty quickly that you evolved into a relationship?
Yeah, so what's happening is she's downplaying the whole thing. So what happened was she saw me, she was like, whoa, what? I get to perform with this guy?
Of course.
And then she was all hot and flustered, and I was like, you need to relax. And I was like, somebody go and get her some water. We got to talking.
Why do I think it was the other way around?
Yeah, well, it might have been. We vibed, we connected immediately, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you like went right into it.
Yeah, we
that
just
was
had a laugh.
January,
And then
he flew to New York in March.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's history.
And
2
that's
kids
it.
later.
Yeah.
that's it, absolutely.
Okay, so you guys are co-owners together of Fire Shaper, and you manage Jay Sean's career, and you are parents of 2 beautiful children. How do you make a marriage, parenting, and business partnership flow?
This is all you love.
Oh my
I
goodness.
believe that.
Oh, you know what? We say that a big part of it, first of all, being a working team together, you have to really have a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah.
I think it starts with respect, respecting each other's strengths and weaknesses, and being aware of each other's strengths and weaknesses, I think is important. Right? Because
So-
that way we're not stepping on each other's
Each other's
toes.
Toes, right. So you're not just aware, you're mindful of them. So if you see him in one of his, you know that he's like messy or...
Right.
Yeah, I don't fuss over that. And that's like something I learned. So one of my big tips for newly married or someone who's getting ready to move in is don't sweat that small stuff. Because it's just not that important.
But how did you get to there? Because most people, first of all, I don't know how old you are, but
Yeah.
I can have an idea. And at your stage of life, most people aren't there.
Yeah.
It takes them a lot of trauma to be able to get to that
Yeah.
point.
I mean, I think you got to really just look at it realistically and go, is it worth fighting over a pair of socks when there's so much fun to have together? There's so many great things you can achieve. Everything, it's all blockage. You know, it's small little stuff can stop great stuff from happening. And it's like, cool. It's like, okay, this is just what he does. He might not change. I can keep bashing my head against a brick wall. And he might change sometimes, and he'll kind of go back to his old ways. If I can change my reaction to it, we can move forward. And it's the same thing with, like, say, you know, I don't know, if I'm with her and she might be going on about the same thing over and over again, I'm like, okay, you know, you just learn to sort of go, really? Oh my God, I know how that must feel.
But that's so good because you just empathize.
Sometimes they
And you
just want you to
acknowledge it.
listen. And
Sometimes,
men-
most times.
Most
Men-
times women just want us to
Yeah.
listen.
And what I always laugh about is men always try to provide a solution, right?
is
So we'll
so
hear
true.
something 2 or 3 times. I'm like, so they'll talk
Let me
about
fix it.
Fix it. All right, so here's what you do. Just, you know, tell her that blah, blah. No, you know what? You're not listening to me. I am listening. That's why I'm giving you this answer. But sometimes you just want that emotional support.
That's, most of the time for women.
So that's it.
That's
If you
great.
learn
But
those
how do
little
you
things-
know
I
that?
don't know. I think it comes with maturity, doesn't it? And with time, relationships of, you know, a lot of time you spend together, you kind of learn how to make it work. But my whole thing is, and I've always been focused on the bigger picture, there's just so much to do, so much fun to have, so much to experience. You know, let the little stuff go, man.
I also think, there must be a deep love that you can overlook all of that stuff because it's so tight between you two.
I just think an understanding and respect.
Yeah.
Respect.
Really,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. And I, you know, this is 10 years ago.
This isn't just a prop, is
No, enjoy it. Let's go.
Thanks. So make sure it's
I will too.
10 years ago, New York City apartment. We were in the studio because I was in a studio when he met me. We were in the studio apartment, and it was the first time sharing a bathroom, and I was like, oh my God, this is interesting. This is different for me, right? And we moved into a bigger apartment in the same building, 2 bathrooms. So that's what I tell everyone. I'm like, just
2?
get your own bathroom.
I used to be in
Right?
real estate, and people would say their best marriages were when they had 2 master bedrooms.
Oh my God. All right, that's sad.
That's the bathroom. Yeah, you have your
But
space.
it's like, have your space. And I would literally say to him, that's your bathroom. Do whatever you want in it. I'm not cleaning it either. Like, I'm going to get the cleaning lady to come clean it. Because it's not worth me fighting with you over it. It's
It's a great
silly.
idea, and you know you don't have to have this big house to have that. It could
No,
be
it's
like,
just- I just wanted a small
Yeah,
little bathroom to,
to
but just
yourself.
like that I knew that was my space.
yeah, that's
And It
awesome.
was like a game changer.
You
for
guys,
us.
you guys are onto it. What gets either of you can answer this? What gets you up in the morning? Like, what's your
apart from our
purpose?
kids,
Yeah,
opening my eyeballs, literally, Daddy!
yeah, seriously.
I think, honestly, there's a lot of purpose, you know, a sense of purpose. Well, we both like to start our day with yoga class. So we'll drop the kids to school and then we'll go and start the day with yoga. And I think that really sets, you know, I've only sort of just, I have to admit, I've only sort of just gotten into how incredible it is. I've always had it there for me, and Tara always used to say, you know, why don't you come? And I was very much an old school, I'm going to the gym guy, right? And then I realized when I went to the gym, I wasn't getting. I was sometimes walking out more stressed out. And I'll tell you why. Because there were too many things going on. Too much noise, too much stimulus. People on their phones, people banging weights, people shouting, people posing, taking selfies. And I'm going, what are you guys doing? Just work out.
Yeah.
So eventually, I would start to I was like, my mood is weird now. Like I've got
you were
to
picking
work
up that
out,
energy,
but I'm picking up weird energy, and I'm like, this is not setting my day off right. So then I went over to the yoga, and I was like, I know you're not allowed your phones in there. That's one thing that's incredible.
That's
so
true.
You're not on your phone for 1 hour.
That's a good point.
Basically, the
When
only
else
hour.
do we ever do that?
Completely.
People get out of bed. They don't even get out of bed and they're on
looking,
their phone
yeah.
immediately. I'm like, and that's one thing I don't do at all. I will not check my social media for the first 2 hours of the day at least. Because you know what can happen,
Morning
right?
habits, yep.
You see something and you might reread some bad news and you're like, oh my God.
And then it sets your tone.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like.
So you were already doing yoga. You brought him.
Yeah.
It's awesome. What I think you just answered it, but maybe there's another one. What is your favorite wellness ritual?
Well, you're more into a lot.
You got a ton.
Okay, I know. I'm like, okay, well, we talked about the yoga already. The big thing for me, meditation.
Me too.
It's so huge. You know, people just don't get it because they're like, but you're just sitting. But I could have the busiest day scheduled. And it's those days that we want to throw it to the side and be like, I don't have time to do it. But if you make that 20 minutes, it's
true.
changes
Everything.
It's so
Do you do
interesting.
guided or
So
non-guided?
now I just do
Your own
like
thing.
music, yeah. I love doing sometimes like I'll create a mantra that day. It just depends.
Yeah, your
whatever
mood.
mood I'm in.
Same.
But I always tell people because a lot of people are like, I don't know what to do. So the guideds are great for people who are just getting started. And then even doing mantras because your mind wanders and you know that's normal.
It brings you back to
But
center.
The mantras brings you back. So if you know, okay, this is my mantra for today, whatever it is that you want to work on, it's such a beautiful thing.
And I mean, I'm a huge meditator. I like to spend hours a day meditating.
Wow.
So what I find is that there's more clarity in everything you do, and you're more centered to give the answers, and the answers come to you so naturally, and you don't get thrown by everything in life. Yeah. But people don't want to sit because they don't want to have to deal with the noise that's going to come into their head in the beginning.
Right. So you know what's really funny? I've talked to people about this. I came from a medical background, right? So I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but I did nearly 3 years of medical school.
Okay.
So I was actually going to be a doctor. And before that, I did a degree in psychology and biology. So I've always been fascinated by the brain and the body. And a lot of people don't realize that, like, you wake up in the morning and immediately your brain is firing. Bang, 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 bang. Thoughts, everything. It could be from a stimulus. Oh, it's cold. And that was trigger off something else. I wonder if it's cold outside. What shall I wear today? You've only just woken up. You have somewhere between 60,000 to 80,000 random thoughts a day in your brain. If you don't know yourself, if you're not self-aware, a lot of people aren't.
Most people aren't.
Most people aren't. If you're not self-aware, you're going to be like, oh my God, what? No way.
Wait, and then what? Over
And then,
here?
like, no, bang,
You're right.
bang, bang. These are random thoughts. They're not. Your brain is not your friend.
Yeah.
It's not your friend.
Nope.
It's
Your soul
literally
is.
firing. Yeah, it's firing stuff at you. If you can get to that point where you're like, that's a silly one, letting that fly. That's a stupid. Ooh, that's a good one. Let me go into that. Boom. You suddenly start to know yourself, right? And I think what with meditation is, like you said, people are afraid because their brain suddenly starts going, bring, and people are like, oh, I can't meditate because I don't know how to stop my thoughts. You can never stop your thoughts.
No, you let them go.
Right. Exactly.
What I love about what you're saying is I think there are more women right now meditating, and most of, I think 70% of my followers happen to be men. And hearing it from a man who a lot of people respect is very important because men don't do this for themselves.
Yeah, I think there's unfortunately there's like some sort of misconception for men that doing yoga is that's I don't do that.
It's cool.
Right?
What's actually
Or
started,
meditating.
what's really funny is yoga was created
Yes.
by men.
Yes.
In the beginning, women weren't doing it, which is why it's so push-up heavy.
Yeah.
It started with men.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And now it's shifted that
It's a woman thing, female thing. I mean, there are plenty of men who do it, but I think hearing from you is important. Do you guys follow Joe Dispenza?
No.
You're going to love him with the medical stuff and just what you were referring to.
Okay,
I'll give his name to you later.
Please,
He's
yeah.
amazing.
No, okay, great.
Awesome.
It's all about gratitude. What is one thing you're grateful for right now?
I'm grateful for this, honestly. I'm grateful for
That's
the fact
really
that you
sweet.
had anybody to call for this and you chose us.
That's really nice.
And I'm grateful for that because whatever we may have learned, you seem to think is important enough to share with your people.
Audience,
So thank you for that.
Thank you for being here. I'm grateful for you guys. How are you guys living your best life right now?
I'm honestly, I have never felt better in my entire life as I do now. I've made a lot of changes over the years, things I've tried in terms of health and training. I've probably been training for like 20 years and I've done everything you can imagine under the sun, all the diets, all the workout schedules. And I kind of finally came down to the most simplest things. And after 20 years of eating nothing but meat, because I was under this false pretense in my head that I need X amount of protein in order to have muscles, I was eating 3 pounds
Oh my gosh.
of meat a day for 15 years.
Oh my gosh. And the quality of the meat.
And I looked good, but I felt terrible. And I was inflamed inside. It was one of those where I was like, how do I have abs, but inside I'm so thick and distended? And I was like, something's going on inside here. And I cut out meat.
How long ago did you do that?
Only 3 months ago.
Oh, and you feel.
And my friends are like, dude, you look amazing. Like, you know, your
skin,
everything. People are like, what are you doing? And I was like, literally, just stopped eating meat.
And I think part of it's because our meat sources today are different than they were back then. I mean, they're rough right now.
Yeah.
And you're a vegetarian too?
So I'm a pescatarian
Okay.
as
Yeah,
well,
we're both
like 80% veg, because we travel and life on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I think 10 years ago when we were first together, I was like, I'm just eating pasta and potatoes. This is ridiculous. This is never
Delicious.
It's delicious, but I felt like a dumpling.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, this is never gonna work. So we had to reintegrate fish for me, and now I love it. It's perfect. It's the perfect balance. It's not too extreme, so that like when I go out to dinner, it becomes uncomfortable for me. Because again, it's lifestyle. You have to figure out what works for your life.
Right,
And I
that's a
think
good-
balance is key.
Balance is so important.
Yeah.
And I always tell everyone, what works for one person doesn't have to work for everyone.
Right.
And it usually doesn't,
gotta
but there's always.
figure it out.
They try to say it's a one size fits all,
Right,
but
and
it's not.
You
We're all
gotta
different
figure it
people.
out. But I'm so proud of him.
Me too.
And it's been a work in progress, literally.
Are you
12
missing
years.
it?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool.
Not one bit. And I realized that again, like there's a lot of false stories that we're told and fed by people. And unless you try it yourself, like I literally went from, like I said, having close to 300 grams of protein a day to having maximum, say, 90 a day from my meals. I didn't lose any size. All I did was I trimmed down my fat, like was just dripping off, and I'm not losing. And I'm like, so this was all nonsense that I was fed, and all the protein powders. And I was like, interesting. Everything we needed is right here.
In the earth.
It's in the earth. It's on the trees. And what I always say is, guess what? Oh, if your food's bland, cool. There's rosemary. There's parsley.
Exactly.
It's all there.
Well,
it's incredible.
it doesn't make money for the
Isn't that
big
incredible?
pharma and all the big corporations. Yeah, but you're so right. What does a typical day look like for you?
There is no typical.
I knew you were going to say that.
There really isn't.
What's a great
like
day?
I said, one time we could be doing this in the morning. Another time, I could be doing an interview on the radio with, on Lebanon. And then I'm off to a studio and I'm writing so and so, and then I'm doing a music video thing with, every day is different for me.
And for me.
Well, I was going to say, and you're supporting that and Fire
Right.
Shaper.
And
That's a lot.
taking
And the
Ava to
kids.
school. Yeah. Still trying to manage that.
That's a lot.
That's, I think, the biggest thing we internally manage with each other, which is the lack of routine.
Right.
Because we don't really have that. And even for our kids, sometimes we feel bad because we love that they're adaptable, but then we're like, "Ooh, is it not good?" That they don't
It's
have
great.
that. Yeah.
You know
but-
what? Like, I mean, I do a lot of videos and stuff like that. And one thing that I think is like, society has a prescription for what everything's supposed to look like and how it's supposed to go. You're giving your kids a gift by letting them see that there's something outside of the box and there are different ways to do things. And that's how they're going to grow up, and it's all they're going to know. And
Right.
it's pretty amazing.
Right, and also, what's interesting is in terms of mental health, you watch other people in their lives, and you see, how we've been trained. What have we been trained and taught? Go to school, finish school, get into college. That's a pressure in itself.
Yeah.
Some people can't get into college. Some people don't have the money to go to college. Okay, finish. Meet someone. Gotta meet someone.
Of course.
Gotta fall in love with the perfect person.
You can't fall in love with yourself.
Right?
I mean, you have to have someone else.
And then you got to have kids. Everybody's got to have kids, right? So all of these social pressures on people from a young age. And like they're saying, you get to like 25, 26, you're like, when my dad was my age, he had 2 kids in university and a business and 2 houses.
Right.
And we're all so different now,
Yep.
right? People are different. And everything, the pace of life is different and things we achieve. So I think what you can't sort of look at other people's routine in their life and go, I should be doing that. Your life is your life and your schedule is your schedule.
And own it.
Right.
Don't be afraid to do something different, think outside the box, because
Right.
that's what gives other people the ability to feel comfortable to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are so awesome. I didn't know how well this was going to go. I was like, I don't know how you'll take to these questions, but you're like, you live my lifestyle pretty
Right.
much, so except for the exciting stuff that I don't get to have. Okay, so what hurdles do you personally face and how did you overcome them to get where you are today? Either one of you.
You want to talk about it? I can talk, whatever.
You can start.
Okay.
Go for it. I'm like,
You both go. You're like, I don't want to share my personal
no,
struggle.
I will share.
Okay.
I love sharing.
Okay.
I think it's important.
Hurdles. So obviously I'm a pop star. That's what I do. So what's my job? I write songs, then I sing them. And I think there is an immense amount of pressure, which a lot of people don't know behind the scenes. They see the
glamour.
title and they see the glamour. But there's a level of performance that people expect of you. Oh, so you should be on radio. Oh, you should be touring. Oh, you should be doing Madison Square Garden. Oh, blah blah blah. Or how come you're not doing this? How come you haven't done a song with whoever, Lil Wayne? Or why haven't you done why aren't you on tour with Lady Gaga? And you're like, whoa, chill out. Like this is my job, but there's levels to it. So what happens is you have to manage your own expectations and you have to pat yourself on the back whatever you achieve, right? And I think that's really important. If you're just somebody starting out in music and you're like, oh, I do music, and people go, well, I haven't heard any of your songs, that could be enough to break someone. They could be like, well, Dad, I just said I do music. I doesn't expect you to know everything, right? So that could be enough to stop them. So I think you have to be very resilient. You have to be very strong. You have to understand why you're doing what you're doing, and you have to keep the love for what you're doing. And I think you have to understand that for a lot of other people, they have, with music and entertainment, they want to chime in because they think they know, right? What do we do when we watch The Voice, American Idol? We're like, ooh, pitchy. Ooh, oh my God, why did they pick that song? Suddenly we're experts
I know.
on the music industry. Yeah. Suddenly everyone's an expert. Right? We don't watch somebody...
you got to give them credit for going up there.
Right. We don't watch someone perform an operation through the window and go, why is he using that scalpel? Why is he... We don't do it. We don't know enough.
Right.
So I think in the creative industry, that's one thing that I have always learned to manage is just be happy where you are and what you're doing.
But that comes from a groundedness within you. And it sounds like that started before your meditation, before your yoga. Like you had that within you?
Yeah, I think so. I think from the very beginning, the way that I was raised by my parents, but my dad always told me, he said, look, whatever it is that you're doing, because like a lot of people ask me, how did your parents react when you gave up medicine for music? I said they were actually super supportive. How could I do any of this without my parents' support? So they knew I got into med school. Cool. Our son's smart. He's going to apply himself whatever he does. So when I came home and said, look, I've got a record deal on the table. I want to do this. They weren't like, oh, like he's not going to work hard at it. I studied the music industry the way I would study music, a medicine.
Were you into that growing up or no?
And I always loved music.
Okay.
But like, again, what I'm saying is apply yourself, right?
Whatever you're doing,
commit
to. And I love the first thing you said, clap for yourself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people aren't going to clap for you, and that's okay, as long as you're clapping for yourself. 100%. And you have to be your biggest fan. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then I'm going to direct them to each of you. Okay, so for you, with all of the knowledge that you have now, is there anything you would have done differently?
Yes, like talking about sort of just in my health and stuff. That it was the stuff I was telling you
about.
But again, it's a journey, right? You discover these things later on.
You wish you had started earlier?
Yes, I wish I had. No, in terms of the stuff I now know about health and the kind of things to eat and what not to eat and blah, blah, blah. And I think in terms of career, I don't think there's anything I would change differently, because in this industry, what is gold is years spent in it.
People don't realize that.
You can be successful for 1 year and have everything you dreamed of and you think, oh, this is great, but you don't have knowledge. You don't know. Have you ever been on stage at the Grammys and your earpiece doesn't work? Have you had that experience? No, of course you don't. What would you do? You don't know because you haven't been in enough, right? So what's always funny is God knows how many shows we were thinking, I don't know, 2,000-3,000 shows I must have done in my life. There's nothing you can throw at me now. I could be like, oh, yeah, that happened like 2 weeks ago. I know how to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
So years of experience is everything. And you only, learn through those. Like I always say, there's no failures. Everything is just a learning.
I'm with you. Fail forward.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just experiences that bring you to the next level.
So that's been, I actually really count myself lucky for that, for being able to have those years.
And there's nothing you can do to create those years. You just have to go through them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so for you, what compelled you to shift gears in your career, and can you tell us about Fire Shaper?
Yeah, of course. I think for me it was just this feeling of not fully being in control when I was in the music industry.
Yeah.
Right? You have to, it's not just what you do. You could be the most, and we meet them all the time, incredible singers and artists and musicians. But there's so many factors that go into whether or not
Everything has to be aligned.
everything has to be aligned. And I think I hit this point where I realized that part of what I wanted to share was positivity and light. And that was always something I wanted to do, even as a singer. That was a goal for me. I wanted to be a positive role model. I wanted to be, so that was always part of what I was doing. But then I realized that doing the music, my soul was starting to get dark. Because
It sucks the life out of you.
it starts to suck the life
Well,
out of
it
you.
can.
Now, it can, and that want for success, and then if it's not happening, it can start to
Right.
you get tired.
Mission accomplished.
right?
You
Yeah.
are light.
Right. So
Yeah.
that was like, I met
You
he
did
was
it.
in my life, and we did it, and I was crazy. I did it so it was such an extreme. I made the decision. There was one article for me. It was like the tipping point for me. It was an article that came out, and I was so excited about the article, and I
remember
couldn't
this.
wait to read it. And they took one line
Paraphrased it.
and they paraphrased it, and it totally changed like who I was.
Wow.
And I was like, that's so unfair. That's not what I said, you know?
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'm grateful for that article.
Yeah.
Of course.
It was everything. So in that moment, and then I called, we were in Birmingham. London, England. And doing this random thing. He was hosting a radio show for the week.
Okay.
And I called California and said, there's a teacher training starting in September. And it's the 9-week training where you just go and immerse yourself. I said, there's a training starting in September. I wanted to learn more about it. So she said, no, there's this training starting in April, which was in 2 weeks. I was in England.
Right.
So I said, I know, but I can't. How could I get, it's in 2 weeks. She's like, I'll help you. I wish that I could go back and see that woman.
Oh, you can.
I wish that I could. I don't know if she's there anymore.
You can find her.
But I would, yeah, because it's that
crazy?
person.
That's awesome.
She did, right? She
Yeah.
said, I can help you. And that was it.
She felt it.
Yeah, and we did it.
You did
Yeah,
do
my
it.
mom thought I was nuts. We were getting ready to
Because
get engaged.
You're doing something different, and you're
Yeah.
leaving something that everyone wants.
Right.
Isn't that nuts?
Which is, it's a nuts, but it's also
no, but that's
so
what I'm
much
saying.
strength
People don't, yeah.
and amazing because you followed your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look how happy you guys
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
It's amazing. I had a question about that, but tell us about Fire. Oh, yeah. Have you ever been to Kripalu?
No.
Oh, you got to check it out. You're going to love it. Okay. Have you, tell us about Fire Shaper.
So Fire Shaper was, for me, it was a transformative force in my life because taking my first yoga class at 19 was something that I had been searching for. I was always a gym bunny. I had always been working out and all that kind of stuff. But the quiet that I got in the hot yoga room was totally
Your first class was
different.
hot yoga?
Yes.
Wow.
So I had probably tried regular
Yeah.
yoga before, but I didn't have the same experience.
Got it.
Because the heat helps you to focus. And so for some people, they can focus in a regular yoga room, and that's great. But for me, the heat really got me to zone in.
That's
so
great.
that was the change
Tipping
for
point,
me.
yeah.
So,
And I love that you, your kids, like you take your, I think correctly, if I read correctly, you take your kids with you or
She
to the
watches
gym
our
or
videos,
bring,
yeah.
So
Our
this is
kids
their
are-
life.
it's
They're
their
growing
life.
up. Like my
Yeah.
kids have grown up with meditation their whole
Yeah,
life. They
that's
meditate on
cool.
their own. I have 2 seniors and a sophomore.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
and I think the younger we
It's
start,
such a gift that we can give to them from young.
and they don't know it because it's all they know.
No,
They're
that's
like,
all
oh,
they
that,
know,
yeah.
They'll appreciate
cool.
it.
One more question for you, and then we have a few more, and we'll be done. When you're in a slump, professionally or personally, what are some things you do to get yourself out of it?
So when you're in a slump, it's really easy to just wallow in your slump, right? But one of the biggest things that I've learned is make a list and just start one by one. Make a list.
So, like, what would one thing be on that list?
The list could be the things that you need to do to get out of it.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like a gratitude list or...
So yes, of course those things, but from a practicality,
Yeah,
like
a step by step. I like that.
yeah, because sometimes I find if you're in a slump professionally, well, why are you in a slump? Is there something that needs to shift? Well, what do I need to do to make the shift? Okay, make the list.
Break it down.
Break it down. What are a few things that I can do today, right now, to help?
I like it.
Right?
That's really good.
And then I'm just very list driven. And then if I can just get through a few of the things, then it's okay. You're not going to get through the whole thing.
But check some off.
Just check a few off, and suddenly for me, once I start feeling productive, then the energy shift
Right.
happens.
And your flow happens.
And then the flow happens,
Yep.
and then I can get out of the...
Yep, and you become in resonance.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, for you,
Yes.
how do your values show up in your work?
I think writing songs, it's difficult to show my actual values as a human being and as a person because songs are fictitious. There must be only a couple that I've written that are about my life. So it's hard for me to actually, which is the challenge I always face. I say to Tara, I was like, it's the one thing I don't fully get from my career and from my job is I don't get to pour this out, who I really am.
I don't want to interrupt
No, please
you,
tell me.
but I actually feel like I know all your values, and it doesn't have to
Interesting.
be in the songs.
Okay.
I think you're showing them right here in this conversation, and I think even the way you probably deal with your manager or
yes.
press.
Yes.
I mean, you are representing yourself so beautifully. I feel like,
Right.
wow, you're really grounded, centered. Your values are very on point, and so I just want you to know.
Thank you. I
You may
appreciate
not
you.
feel that way, but I feel them.
No, I really appreciate you saying that because what I was going ahead to say is even so the songs are fictitious. So kind of much like how an actor, Will Smith, we love him, right? Who doesn't love Will Smith? Everybody loves him, but he doesn't play roles like that, or he's playing action guy
Right.
roles. So it's not through his roles that people are seeing his values as a human being.
Right.
It's just what you said. It's when he's off camera.
Right.
It's when you see him in interviews. It's when you hear stories about who he met and what he did for that person and blah, blah, blah. And I think, those are the things that people will always remember. Like when I step out of a radio interview, it's the energy I'm leaving them with, right? It's going to be like, okay, he came here, promoted his song, but he was a nice guy.
Right.
I like
You're
that dude.
real.
I want him to win.
Right.
Right. And it's those little things, I think, which are important. Yeah, I think you just have to be grateful for the fact that, like I said, if somebody calls you in for a radio interview, a lot of artists are going to be like, oh, why do I have to go all the way down there? Can't I do? They're like, hey, bro, they chose you.
Yeah.
They're helping. Do you want
You're
your song heard?
humble.
Right, and my whole thing is they're only helping you.
Yeah.
You've got a song out. They're giving you airtime.
Right.
Why is
It's a
this
really good
bad
perspective.
thing? How is this in any way bad?
I know, but
So-
most people do see it that way.
maybe.
Your perspective is really good.
Yeah, so.
And one more for you. What does success mean or look like for you?
Yeah, for me, success is certainly not, album sold, or chart positions. I think if you do that, you are setting yourself up for depression, anxiety, or something. You can't live like that, right? And I've been so fortunate. I've had so much success, number ones and stuff. Imagine I was like, oh, I'm never going to be happy unless I get number one on every single song. No, I'm not doing that to myself. Success
Yeah.
for me is the taste I leave in people's mouth. It's when I walk away. It's when I enter a room, when I leave. How do I make people feel? What's the lasting impression? What's the initial impression? Because that is literally nothing to do with career, nothing to do with anything. It's got to do with two people who share this planet together and your interaction with them.
You guys
And
are
that's
so
it.
good. It's your impact.
It's your impact. And if it's a success, and to me, if it's a positive one, that's success.
I love that. I mean, that is not what most people in your position would say. And you're, again, I'm going back to grounded. Humble, grounded, centered. Your parents have done an amazing job. And so has your wife. I just was
She's
about to
rubbed off
say,
on me.
you cut me off before I
Yeah.
got to say, and your wife, and your kids.
Yes, 100%. Oh my God,
Yeah,
the kids.
stability.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Who's been your biggest influence in your life and why?
Oh my goodness, that's hard. That's a hard one for me.
Okay, who is someone who is influential in your life and why?
I think for me, family has been the biggest influence in my life. Family has been the biggest influence. It's been a huge part of teaching me lessons as I was growing up, right? I came from, my dad is Guyanese Indian. He came here from another country when he was 18 years
Wow.
old. He tells everyone the story. He came with 4 hard-boiled eggs in a brown paper bag. That's the story.
Right.
And then my mom was from here. She was from America, from New York. She was mixed race, so she was half black, half white. So, and then I grew up in Bergen County. So it was,
It's a lot, especially back when you were growing up.
Oh my gosh, I was the only
In
brown
Riverville?
girl in Riverville.
Oh my gosh, it is
Until I
pretty
was
white
in,
there.
6th grade? And then there were 3 of us by the time we graduated.
It's hard.
So I had to find my way many, many times. But my family, my parents, my mom, my dad, and my extended family, they are what taught me so many lessons, kept me grounded. Watching my aunts and seeing how they navigated family life and work life.
It sounds like you both come from a really solid family.
I think we're very lucky.
You are.
We really do appreciate our families.
Yeah, that was a big thing for us when we were getting ready to have, when we were living in LA before we decided we were ready to start trying to have a family.
Right.
And we were renting at the time because we hadn't decided yet where we wanted to lay our roots. And it clicked.
You
to
wanted to
me,
be.
and I said, I don't care whose family we're with. We can go to London, or we can go back to New Jersey. But I think we need to be
By family. That's smart.
Yeah.
And that's kind of intuitive to know that's what you need and your kids would
Yeah.
need. And
Yeah.
so what are some common myths that each of you experience in your respective industries?
Myths. I always love what goes on backstage and behind the curtain. And it's really funny to me because I think to me, that is the funniest stuff. Like, you go to the Grammys and you're like, whoa, there's Bruno Mars. Whoa, there's Justin Timberlake. Whoa, there's Snoop Dogg.
Whoa, there's
This is-
Jay Sean.
Right? And you think, this is super cool. And then, then you go to the bathroom and you come back and there's just a normal dude who's like, no, I'm sorry, you guys can come in right now. You're going to have to wait for the commercial break. And you look on the wall and there's
you're like-
Katy Perry, Snoop Dogg, and everyone just waiting there like,
That's funny.
and I love that.
Yeah,
right?
'cause it's real.
It's real. And I remember that happened and I was cracking up and I was like, I can't wait to tell my friends this because you never think, you're like, there's no way, they must just get everything they want all the time.
Yeah, but it's the same for everyone, I guess.
And it's
yeah.
just fun.
That's awesome.
It's fun and it's silly and it reminds you not to take it too seriously. And and to just enjoy it.
Okay, that's good. And how about you?
One of the common myths.
Yeah.
That you have to be flexible to do yoga. I'm not flexible. I
That's
can't
a good
do yoga.
one.
I'm like, that's why you come to yoga, to
Right.
get flexible.
You can
right?
start anywhere. Your range
Yeah.
doesn't need, and you
And
build on
you
it.
progress
Yeah.
over time. Or maybe you don't.
That's a
but
good one.
Even if you don't get super flexible in your body, you're going to get more flexible in your mind.
Well, because people think yoga is all about the body, but yoga is really a deeper practice. That's much more about up
Yeah.
here. Yeah. What are some specific roadblocks to look out for in either of your industries? I guess more yours because I guess injury would be something in yours.
Right.
Yeah.
Roadblocks. Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. Stop worrying about what they've achieved, what kind of music they're doing, which producer did they use for that song. Do you and what you do best, right? And that's a common thing that happens in the music industry. Somebody will start a trend and you're like, oh, I have to do a song like that. Like, what do you mean? You do what you do. Since when do you have to copy so and so? And I think that's what can stop you, right? Can stop your creative process. So just try to stick to what you're best at.
I actually think I literally did a video yesterday on that. It's a great piece of advice in every area of life, from social media and seeing what other people are doing and feeling like you have to do that, because they're really not doing that stuff. They're just showing it on social media. And staying true to yourself. Again, back to alignment, resonance, and being you. Because that's who we want to meet. We're all different people, and we're all helping each other out.
Yeah. If we were all the same, it would be really boring.
It would be.
Right? But I think that's the same even for yoga. That's what I was thinking as he started talking. It's
yeah,
the same
it's
thing.
true.
When you're on your mat,
yes.
don't worry about what the person next to you is doing.
I always want to be able to do a better crow. And I see people doing crow, and I'm like, why can't I do that? But my body isn't there yet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's okay.
Just do you.
Yeah.
You know?
So true.
So what are some favorite books, podcasts, and people that have inspired your journey? Besides the Juice podcast.
Yeah. For me, The Secret
I love The Secret.
was changed my life.
It's an amazing book.
Shifted my entire focus.
I'm going to share some books and podcasts that I like with you guys off camera.
please
but-
do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We love that.
Please do.
So that's one that I read that when I met him.
It's amazing. Did you read it too?
I read that as well. And at the time, I'm going to be honest with you, I'll just be absolutely honest. I wasn't open enough. I was cynical. I was skeptical. And I was like, this sounds like airy-fairy nonsense to me. And I was. And I'm being absolutely
You weren't
honest.
a manifester then?
I'm going to be absolutely honest, because there was a blockage. I wasn't open.
You weren't ready.
And I think it's important for people to know that, because there's people out there who want to get on the level that where they see people who just seem to be happy. And they're like, why can't I do that? And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, the universe, okay, I have to ask you. My brother said something really hilarious to me yesterday. And not yesterday, last week. I was in England. And we went to the gym together. And he goes, don't you know how much you're going to bench today? Like, what do you... And I was like, I don't write it down, bro. Like, I go in there if I feel strong enough. It's like, oh, I'll do what the universe tells me to do. And I started laughing so much.
That's so funny.
Because, in a way... Like, he knows that I'm on this sort of this spiritual vibe where I don't sweat it, right? It's just like, hey,
It's going to be what it'll be.
if I feel strong today, I want to put it on. Guess what? If I try it and I can't lift it, I'll take it off
all
again.
good.
It's not that deep.
Yeah.
I don't have to beat
But we
myself
overthink
up because I'm like, I'm
everything.
meant to be able to do 100. Why can't I?
Yeah, you're so right.
I just don't beat myself up, right? And so I think it's quite funny that, you know, I wasn't open then, but then I think you have to go through your journey.
I think
And-
someone took you on a journey.
Yeah, 100%. She did. And there's like, for me, because I'm so medical, like,
Yeah,
from
your
my
background.
I really do love, so I like reading a lot of the medical books which based around the same sort of topics. There's one great one called Mind Power by James Borg. And in that, he breaks down everything so scientifically, it's brilliant. It made complete sense to me. And he said something as simple as this, right? You have a thought. That thought, like I said, if you can't control it, if you can't and you're paying attention to it, will automatically trigger. It will go straight to the pharmacy in the brain, trigger a hormone, trigger a chemical, neurotransmitter, which will have a physiological response to your thought. Your brain's not going, are you sure? Wait, are you sure? Is this what you want to feel right now? It's not double checking. It's going, oh, he's sad, got to do that. Oh, he's worried, release this. Oh, he's stressed out, release this one. Bang. Because you're paying attention to the random thoughts.
Yep,
and you
it's the
don't know
neurons, the
yourself.
synapses.
It's literally
So it is
science.
It's
You
not
are going to
just-
love Joe Dispenza. Do you
Great.
know who the pineal gland is and
Yes,
everything?
of
So he
course.
talks about opening it up from a
Yeah,
medical
yeah. Oh, wow.
perspective.
Okay.
There are some pretty cool meditations.
Love
You
all that.
get your third eye going
Amazing.
crazy. It's
Okay,
really
yeah.
cool.
I love that.
Yeah. Did you want to chime in? Oh, you said The Secret. Do you have any podcasts you like?
I'll be honest with you. I don't listen to as many podcasts. If I have the time, I like to read a book. For me,
We'll stick with the juice.
I'm going to stick with this one.
What's your favorite book?
There's one that I'm currently reading right now, but I don't know the author's name. I downloaded it. It's actually a Sikh guy.
Okay.
So I'm Sikh in religion, and again, he broke down about, like, for example, religion, right, and how we see God. And it was actually really interesting because he made us, he talked about God as being the universe. And it's the first time that somebody in this religion had made me open my eyes like that. Whoa, you're
Wow.
really going to be honest enough to say that? So I wanted to kind of see what his
That's
theories
cool.
were. And I think it's really interesting because that can create division between people too, right?
Of
Religion
course,
does.
definitely.
So I was kind of like, let me read this
Check
and
it
see
out.
where that's going. Yeah.
We'll get you the name of that book later. What do you guys do to disconnect from all the noise?
Literally, I won't look at my phone.
Yeah.
phone.
It's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Put my phone
So
away.
turn off the phone.
And would
So-
you say that as a couple and independently, that would be your thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what else. But yeah, I mean, even if we go
I mean,
to
yoga.
dinner,
Yeah.
you know,
So
we
important, man.
turn the phones off.
Yeah, you do
You know,
at
to
the
give
table and
ourselves
yeah.
that time. And even last night, I was thinking about it because it's hard because we work with people in LA. So sometimes
Time
it's like
difference.
6 o'clock, and
Yeah.
that's my time that I'm trying to be focused with the kids. And then that's when they start messaging me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was thinking of kind of putting out a blanket to say from 6 to 9, I'm off.
I love your boundaries.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'll tell you, with my kids, since they're much older than yours, they were never allowed to have their phone at the table, at the
yeah.
dinner table, at the
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, or dinner table.
No, I think
Yeah.
it's...
And I mentioned that to someone at one point, and they were like, "What? Like you don't let your kid have the phone at the table?" And they're on their phones all
always-
day
Otherwise, they're
long.
always on it, right?
You have to control it
Yeah.
a little bit.
And you know what I think is also important for people who might have kids who are young? I think you need to understand the moment your kid has to say mum or dad 3 or 4 times in a row because you're stuck on your phone.
I've been there.
We all
We've
do
been
it.
there,
Yeah.
But yeah.
What is that doing to them psychologically?
Absolutely. You're not
This
important.
thing is more important than what I need right now.
You're so right. And that's a very good point.
You know, and I think that you need to sort of check yourself. And I'll hear Ava. She's like, Dad, Daddy, Dada. She usually goes through all the different things.
Yep, and then she'll push you or touch
And
you.
I'm like, jeez, oh my God, this was not. I was like, sorry, baby, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying every single time they're going to have something important, but
But it doesn't matter if it's important because it's
But-
important to them.
right. And also, like I said, I think it just places too much importance on the device, which
Right.
is why then that becomes so important to them.
And then the thing is, that's true too, and they stop coming to you because they realize they're going to get you this, and
Right.
what's the point of trying
Siri,
anymore?
Dad's not
yeah.
listening again.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly. Okay, so 2 last questions. One is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't?
You
This
asked us
is
a lot of things.
wonderful things.
Okay, and then what is the best way if people wanted to get in touch with Fire Shaper or you to find out more about Fire Shaper? What's the best way for them? You can let them know to contact you.
Fireshapertenafly.com. And then our Instagram is Fireshapertenafly, and so is our Facebook. So those are the best ways to stay in touch with us and see what we're doing. And even if you're not coming yet, start following and start
Definitely.
taking it in. And one day, all of a sudden, you're going to wake up and see a post and say, today's the day.
And
it
even
doesn't
if
have to be to my yoga studio. It could be to any yoga studio.
And even if, today is not the day, you're going to get other things from that account and the posts because whether it's poses or mindset stuff, you're really going to like it. So you got to check them out and follow their new journey. It's awesome.
And it is, I'm not just saying, it's actually a gorgeous studio space. Like, like when you walk in, you can feel the vibe, the energy of something, this. And it's just really nice. You spend a lot of time sort of just creating a place where you feel like, wouldn't mind staying here for a couple of hours, actually. It's pretty nice. It's cozy. So come and check it out.
I think it's the place, and then I think your energy's all over it. So it's the combination of it.
It's important.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for people to check it out, and I wanted to thank
Absolutely.
you guys
Oh,
for
thank
coming
you.
here so much. I really
No, thank you for
appreciate it.
having
This
us.
was amazing.